Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, February 8th, the Affordable Housing Advisory Board meeting called to order. And thank you all for being here. This is a virtual meeting and we're all participating, and there's an opportunity for public comment virtually. With that, I'd like to call the meeting to order, and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand, and then maybe we have a flag. I have one in the background. Oh, it's not all showing. But please stand, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Excellent. While we are virtual, I'd still like to call attendance. Can we have the clerk assist us with that, please?
Natasha?
I'm here.
Great, Natasha, thank you.
Overman.
Here.
Combs. Sarah Combs.
She's trying to get unmuted there, I see her.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Here.
Rosenwasser. Burton. Connie Burton. Lott.
I don't see
Meredith Abel.
Here.
Powell.
Here.
Councilman Goods.
Here.
Jackson Sims.
Present.
Mr. Hudson. Hollis. O'Donnelly. Nieves. Chrissy Nieves.
Present. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. And Strom. Okay, and then for Hillsborough County staff, Nancy Takamori.
I'm here.
Cheryl Howell.
I'm here.
Okay, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Natasha. We have apparently been afflicted with the Super Bowl flu that occurs. It's kind of why I thought it might be a good idea to make this meeting virtual this morning, as many people are not interested in fighting traffic this morning. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. We do have 15 minutes set aside for public comment. Natasha, did we have anyone sign up to speak today?
Yes, Madam Chair, we do have Miss Noelle LaCour that will be speaking today, and that is the only one signed up for public comment, and I do see that she's on the line.
Excellent. Ms. LaCour, you are recognized. You have 3 minutes, please.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Noelle LaCour, and I'm here today because I want to let you all know that there are families being evicted in Hillsborough County by developers who are foreclosing on HOA liens for as little as $1,407 and without HOA board approval. This is happening to my neighbors in affordable housing developments in South Hillsborough County by an affordable housing developer. One neighbor will go in front of the judge to lose her home in just 10 days on February 18th. And it all began over $710. That has now ballooned into $5,271 with all the lawyer fees. And just in case anybody would like to look it up, it's Hillsborough County Court Case Number 20-CC-037914. The only payment plan option that the lawyer would accept was for $878.66 a month. This developer also put in place a uniform collection policy that allows homeowners to be sent to a lawyer and lose their home for as little as $100. How is that possible when you can't even file a lien, an HOA lien for less than $1,000? because as soon as the homeowner is sent to the lawyer adds over $900 in fees, which then makes the total equal over $1,000, and therefore a lien can be filed and their home can be taken within a few months. This particular uniform collection policy also allows the property management company to add fees for themselves. The amount is not listed in or limited by this uniform collection policy. These types of practices hurt affordable housing in many ways. When a home is foreclosed on over these small liens, USDA stops receiving money from the homeowner indefinitely. The only way USDA recoups some of their money is by foreclosing on the mortgage excuse me, and selling the home. But USDA's backlog for foreclosures is about 10 years long. And meanwhile, investors purchase the certificate of title for as little as $10,000, then rent the home out for $1,500 a month. So now the home is no longer affordable, the homeowner is homeless, and USDA is no longer receiving their money each month, which affects future funding for people who need affordable housing. This should not be happening ever, much less during a pandemic. Foreclosures and evictions over small liens need to be included in whatever eviction moratoriums that the county or state issue. I hope that given the chance, this board would advocate for that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. LaCour, and we'll look into that. I appreciate that. With that, seeing no other public commenters, and we're not able to actually approve the minutes for December and January, which we'll defer that till our next meeting. I don't have a lot to offer right now for a chair's report. We do have the governor's budget, or at least preliminary budget, to review. And from what I understand, there's some question about what happened with our SHIP allocation last year. Unfortunately, I don't believe we're going to be able to have my dreams come true and be able to keep those funds, but it does appear as though there's momentum at the legislature to, once again, protect the Sadowski Trust funding. So with that, I'm going to move to Ms. Howell to offer the director's report.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much, Commissioner Overman. And you're exactly correct. I don't believe that that there be a way to be able to salvage the $12 million from last year, and that would have equaled up to approximately $27 million of funding for this year. But we're hopeful to be able to get the $15 million of funding. There's been a lot going on at the federal and the state level in regards to housing. We are looking at the $1.9 trillion of federal bill that the President Biden is putting forth right now, that has some moratoriums for evictions and has some additional funding in it as well for local government, and also for rental and for rental assistance. And so we're excited about that and preparing for the allocation that's already been made to support families. At the state level, there are two issues that's going on right now. One has to do with evictions itself and eviction forgiveness, and creating a pathway that would actually seal the records for people who are being evicted during this time. And so we are hopeful for that, because as many of you know, that when a family suffers from or experiences an eviction, they have a very, very difficult time accessing decent housing moving forward. And there was one other issue, and I believe I'm getting an old person's moment here, or just too much Super Bowl activity this past weekend. And so if I think of it, I'll bring it to you. But I do want to move on with some items of business, if you will, Commissioner Oldham. So we have a number of different things, but the first thing that I like to talk about is the bundle of incentives. And this is not the first time that this is going to be before this board. And so it's okay to talk about it with many of the members not present today. But today we're bringing before you the bundle of incentives that's offered by Hillsborough County to begin a discussion on what we currently have, what may be needed as we move forward to incentivize more or additional affordable housing, and what kind of adjustments we may need to make as well. Now, I can share with you specifically that parking is not necessarily included in this list of incentives, but certainly one of those things that we're currently looking at right now. And so we've included those list of incentives in the packet for you. If there are any questions or any discussion in regards to the incentives, would you like to bring that up now, Commissioner?
Sure. One, I wanted to make sure that all of us were very aware of it. And then two, what I'd like to do going forward is look for a way that we could package up this list with possibly any modifications to make sure that our home builders and land use attorneys are very aware of the list in order to, as well as the lending community that we work with, to make sure that they're aware that these tools are available to help facilitate the development of affordable housing. As any of you had an opportunity to watch the public hearing Thursday evening for the WRV2 and the RP2, central to a lot of the comments and concerns was how to manage the effort to promote affordable housing in those particular areas, which is challenging. It's a rural area, but it does have a Main Street area. So, finding solutions on how these incentives assist or complicate the affordable housing, but more importantly, how they could be utilized to assist in creating affordable housing where it makes sense. So please review this. A lot of it's land use. It's a little complicated sometimes. The nomenclature is a little challenging sometimes. But I do encourage everyone on the board to actually review this list so that when you are speaking with individuals that have some interest in affordable housing or community groups that are looking to try and promote affordable housing in their area, that we consider opportunities to either approve this list or opportunities to actually make sure that people are aware of it so that they take advantage of it and we assist in creating affordable housing. With that, Ms. Howell, would you like to, not seeing any hands raised or anyone wanting to ask questions, would you like to review the recent board approvals by the Board of County Commission?
Actually, yes, ma'am, I would. But before going on, I just want to say that Mark Rosenwasser was on the phone just then, and so he's going to be trying to get through. And so, Ms. Natasha, if you'll just reach out to him, he's downtown at the county center right now. And so, as we move forward, I'd like to go over the approved agenda items for the BOCC. If you will just give me a second here, pulling those up. And on the incentives, board members, if you'll just take time to read over those. We have plenty of time right now to review them, but we have to include those in our November meeting for approval and submission to the Florida Housing Finance Corporation under our incentive review recommendations. And so I'll start with our board items. We approved our ESG CV1 and CV2 grant awards from the federal government. The next item was a budget amendment for our CRF funding, where we moved a little bit of money around to be able to meet all of the expenditure requirements for CRF, and that's the coronavirus relief funding that we received from the state of Florida. There's a budget resolution where we realign funds mid-year to ensure that all of our grant funding is in line with our expenditures. And we had a regular ESG funds program modification and realignment. The next item was for our home funds realignment, and all of these are mid-year grant true-ups is what we call them. And the COVID funds realignment, the SHIP funds realignment, and then finally we had an increase in Catholic charities in their project. We also went into agreement with Reach Organization and Catholic Charities Organization to provide additional rental and mortgage assistance. So each of those agencies were provided $750,000 each to help assist during this gap period until we're able to begin the new R3 program. We have the second modification of our CRF for the acquisition and rehab of the motel in South Hillsborough County, and that's with Catholic Charities. We did a modification for the Center of Women for the rehab program. And finally, we did a modification with our urban county partners, City of Temple Terrace, on their projects. And that is it for our contract modifications. One item that we really need to talk about now is we need a subcommittee to create officers. And so we typically create our officers, and I want to say that's every other year. Is that correct, Nancy?
Hi, it's every year, but with COVID complications last year, we just weren't able to get the committee together in time.
Okay.
And so the elections would be at the April meeting, but if we could have a subcommittee together to put forward a slate of officers, a chair and a vice chair, to present it to the board just for their consideration at the March meeting. That is what your bylaws contemplate.
And so at this particular meeting, we need a subcommittee meeting. That subcommittee meeting will meet in the interval and bring back the recommendation to the board at large. Are there any volunteers?
Yes, so at this point, you're looking for volunteers to create a subcommittee, a nomination committee for the slate of officers for the Affordable Housing Advisory Board. And they need to meet within the next, say, 30 days or so in order to create a slate of officers for the board. Do we have any volunteers at this time? And this could be accommodated virtually in the event that that's not a, I mean, it's a public meeting. We could have public influence, but we could do that via virtually in order to participate in it. I see David Hollis has raised his hand, or you're interested in speaking. You're muted, David. Mr. Hollis. There you go.
Oh, thanks. I was just, good morning. I was just waving to a fellow employee who walked by my office. Sorry.
So you're not volunteering? Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to give other people the opportunity to serve in that capacity.
Okay, seeing nobody jumping up and down and waving their hands, Natasha, could you do me a favor and reach out to all the board members, especially those that may not be attending today since we have a smaller population. Send out a recruitment email to the board members indicating that you need a response to volunteer for this very short duration committee for the nomination of officers. Please.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'll get on that today.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Ms. Howell?
Great. Thank you. And so I'll bring to you the grant updates. I am so happy to announce that the Affordable Housing Services applied for a grant at the state DEO for an improvement for All People's Park. And we got notification last Friday that we were awarded over $1 million for improvement of those grants. And so it means so much, especially during these times most of the projects that are completed within our department are completed by small contractors. And so this is a real win for our small contractors and some of our small architecture and engineering design companies that are out there as well. And so I am so happy to inform you of that. And also we have a couple of pending grants that are out there as well. So we're hoping to be able to get some awards on those as well. So.
Thank you very much for your hard work.
And I want to say that is the end of my report. The only other thing that I would like to bring up for consideration in conversation is our vacant land. And so we did have a lot of conversation about our vacant land, where we were getting a CLT, but I don't think that we really got clarity on what happens to the property in the meantime. And so there's been some inquiries on a few properties that's on the list. There are many properties that's unusable really for affordable housing. And I would like to make the recommendation for real estate really to process those properties and dispose of some of those properties that we're just not able to use, and maybe even move forward with an RFP for properties that are really ripe for development at this particular time. And so we are moving forward with the creation and the recommendations for the CLT. But I do want to say to the board that that's going to take some time. And it's going to take time for the CLT to, once they're established, to be able to process these properties as well. And in the meantime, we have properties and we have interested parties that could really be working on development of affordable housing. And so, the thought is not to really waste time or to sit in limbo, but to create opportunities or strike while the iron is hot, as my grandmother used to say. And so.
Thank you for bringing that. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. It was my recollection, after having a recent conversation, that this advisory board went through a selection process and identified those that were ranked well of county properties for the development of affordable housing. In addition to that, for those that are listening, a CLT is a community land trust. And while that is in the process of, I believe we're going out for RFP for a consultant to assist us in creating that trust, as Ms. Howell has indicated, we want to get it right. But we also don't want to hesitate to move forward when there are pieces of land that we've already voted that is a good target for affordable housing, and then we have affordable housing developers that are ready to go. So if unless there's other individuals that find this a little challenging, I think I was not of the understanding that we would not make a decision on any of the properties that we agreed were good properties for affordable housing was dependent on creating the community land trust and getting that up and running before we move forward with some of those properties that were allocated and identified specifically for affordable housing. So unless there's an objection by the board members, and I'd love to hear from the board on this, those properties that we previously identified as good properties based on the ranking process, if we were to select from that list and have them move to RFP for affordable housing development, then I would suggest that we do move forward. Are there any comments or questions about that particular direction? Ms.
I have a
Combs.
question, Commissioner Overman.
Ms. Combs, you're recognized, and then I'll recognize you. Mr. Powell, I believe? Okay, yes. Go ahead, Sarah.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Overman. I think it's an excellent idea to be able to revisit that list because there are a lot of parcels that are primed for affordable housing initiatives. And, you know, as we're in an affordable housing crisis, I think the more that we can put those out to developers who are ready to build housing, I think that that's in the benefit of the people. So I think it would be great if we could see that list of, it's been so long that I can't remember what that list was. There was 2 separate lists that I recall. If we could see the list that we're saying we would like to open those up for RFPs, and then the list that we're saving for the land banking, that would be very helpful.
Excellent, good comment.
Right, and I just want to say it'll probably be 3 lists here. I do want to provide some clarification. So that would be the list that are that's right and ready right now. A list that would be kind of deferred and left for CLT, and the list of unusable properties that would be going back over to real estate for disposal.
And then the proceeds of that comes back to our affordable housing dollars. So it's not lost to affordable housing. It's just if it's not appropriate for an affordable housing property, then real estate would dispose of the property. And those proceeds would come back to our affordable housing budget. Mr. Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Commissioner. I actually was just going to really echo what Ms. Combs was going to say and did say. I was hoping to be able to receive that list again because it's been so long. So I was just hoping that we could get that. So thank you for making that available to us again so we can just refresh our memory. And if I understood you correctly, with the proceeds from the sales, will those go back to the Community Land Trust or just back to the Affordable Housing Board? Because if memory serves me correct, we were hoping to be able to use proceeds from any of the sales in order to fund the Community Land Trust. So are we going to be able to do that or not?
Well, unfortunately, the trust does not exist as of today. But if it's the board's pleasure to have those proceeds benchmarked for seeding the Community Land Trust once it's established, I don't see why that isn't possible. Ms. Howell, can you address that issue? Or maybe Ms. Takamori could address that issue.
I want to say, Cody, that Mr. Powell, that it's an administrative process. So right now, we're in the development phase of the CLT. And so the Board of County Commissioner really makes the final decision on where funding goes, but they still have to have a repository, right? And so at this particular point, there can't be a decision made on whether or not the money would go to a CLT because there's not been formal approval of an official CLT at this time. And so we're right now in the formulation phase of the CLT. And so once that's completed, then that goes to the Board of County Commissioners for final approval with all of the specifics, the roles, the responsibilities, and so on and so forth.
Mr. Powell, do you have another follow-up, or are you good?
No, I'm fine. I was just, again, I would just love to be able to see some of those funds. I understand that we don't have the CLT, in place yet. And honestly, I don't think anyone knows when that's, going to get formed, anytime soon. But if we could at least have, as you said, some of those funds, maybe set aside or appropriated, at a later date for when the CLT, is, officially established, I think that would be really great.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Powell. Ms. Strom, you're recognized.
Thank you. Just a point of clarification, Commissioner. So when you are asking about whether properties should be put out to RFP sooner, are you thinking that it could weaken a future CLT if the primary properties that could go into it are already gone? I'm trying to figure out, is there any argument against moving forward with available properties?
I think the benefit of a CLT, depending on how it's put together, could offer an additional opportunity to preserve those properties for affordable housing. However, it isn't the end-all be-all for precluding affordable housing. I mean, clearly, if we were to put it out for RFP, it would only be to affordable housing developers at this point. And as we have been made aware, the Housing Finance Authority, when they provide financing for affordable housing, they are now making an effort to have that be for perpetuity. So that gives us another tool, or at least another assurance that if that tool is utilized to create the affordable housing, that it does in fact provide that kind of protection. That being said, I think it is important for us to recognize there may be some properties that we don't really have the capacity for developing affordable housing at the moment, maybe without a CLT, without a community land trust. So looking at that short list, I think will be important to make a recommendation. We obviously don't approve things that the BOCC will have to, but I believe that this board can provide some guidance on how to select the properties that we put out to RFP. And at this point, those that are have all of the good things. We have a scoring that really prioritizes the greatest opportunity for creating affordable housing, whether that be access to transit, access to density, access to jobs, specific location, those opportunities. And then in the RFP, we have an opportunity to do some elements associated with for the voting process when staff looks at it, opportunities to improve community amenities or community benefits that make it even more attractive to achieve the goals that we would otherwise accomplish maybe only through a CLT. So the only thing I have in response to some of the concerns we've had is I'd like to get a status on the CLT RFP and sort of take a look at the timeline to see if we could identify at least a goal for getting that accomplished. Cheryl, can you update us on where we are in that process and kind of give me a timeline on expectations, because that will help us plan accordingly.
Okay, I can share with you that all of the proposals have been submitted. That first of all, the procurement department manages all procurements that go out for affordable housing. All of the proposals right now have been submitted, and the committee that will be doing the reviewing and recommendation will meet today.
Okay.
And so we'll be bringing back a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners based on the set of proposals that were submitted.
Well, that's awesome. And then in those proposals, was there a timeline identified to achieve recommendations on the CLT?
No, so the timeline really will be identified in the actual agreement.
Okay, so once there's a selection process, then whoever actually is awarded the RFP would then set the timeline for accomplishing the establishment or recommendations for a CLT? Is that
right? We actually put in benchmarks and say, within 3 months we need this. Within 6 months we'd like to be here. Within 9 months we'd like to be here. So on and so forth. so that we can get it done within a specified period of time.
Excellent, because I'm one of those persons. If it's not on a calendar, it might not happen.
Right.
And I think it's critically important that we include that kind of goal setting with this particular contract, because as we've discussed, not having one or not having that tool, does remove an opportunity to really improve our opportunity for affordable housing. Ms. Combs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just curious to know who's the committee that's reviewing the CLT proposals.
I'm not sure. I don't have the names of the people right now, but what I can share with you is that it's not affordable housing staff. So affordable housing staff doesn't do the review and recommendation, but I don't have the names of the people that is doing the review right now in front of me, Sarah. So.
Is it made up from our board or just?
Oh no, it wouldn't be made up from our board, and so that could cause some additional type complications. It's made up of staff members from other departments.
Ms. Combs, I think part of it is I'm still every day I go, well, how does that do it? Well, how does that work? Typically, the county administrator will put together, excuse me, with the procurement teams. And like a subset of the executive team for reviewing these things to make sure that they're all in compliance with the multitude of rules that we have to live with, and also to create clarity in the RFP process. So based on the subcommittee's recommendations, based on the goals of establishing a CLT, and based on just general law in terms of contracting, those individuals review those items and then make a recommendation. Does that help? Okay, great. Yeah, it took me a little while to kind of was like, how come we're not doing this? And largely it's because we do have stakeholders on this advisory board that would possibly compromise the ability for that code of silence and all the other things that happen. So we want to make sure that we're following the rules very, very carefully in order to make sure we move forward appropriately. But that was a very good question because I had the same question. I was like, who's doing this? So thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay, well, so we're looking forward to hearing what, when it's issued, what our timeline looks like. And then maybe if you could resend the previous selected high ranking property, or at least the list, so that the board members could take a look at it again. And while we won't necessarily exclude anything, but we can actually possibly offer some recommendations in those that could be immediately released for RFP as a group, not as a individual pieces of property, but just as a group in terms of the scoring that we use for ranking those properties made available for RFP.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Combs, you had another question?
Yeah, I know that the Board of County Commissioners already approved several properties to go out to RFA. Are those already going to be released, or are those going to go back to the BOCC?
And so they're kind of already in this process, Sarah. And so they don't go back to the BOCC. That was kind of a one-off. But what we'll do is we're going to include them in this process, and then we'll move forward with an RFP with a bulk set of properties, primarily focusing on the urban service area. So we want to look at the properties that are right for multifamily development that are in areas that have existing services already.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so Cheryl, the timeline for that, you'll send it out to our board, and then do we need to do some action, or are we going to wait till the next month to do anything?
Well, if it's an action item, we would have to wait until the next month.
Okay.
And so it is. For staff purposes, it doesn't have to necessarily be an action item. we've already taken a look at this. It's not really a voting item. It is a it really is a staff item to kind of move forward on. You know, so the board's role is to really look at the direction that affordable housing is going. You know, and say, you know what, we need more multifamily units in the urban service area, and really kind of push for that. And then it's the board's role, the staff role, to come in and say, these are the resources that we have, and this is how we can do it, and push those things forward.
So for our action items, when you send us those 3 lists, what would you like for us to do other than review it?
Commissioner?
Thank you. The goal here is to make sure that you're aware of the list. And at the next meeting, assuming staff has not already put out the RFP, maybe think about how we prioritize those pieces of property that would be immediately released for development, and those that we may want to maybe set aside for the CLT. It's kind of difficult to do that right now because we don't have a timeline on the community land trust. But I do know that we have within not only the urban service area, within areas that are close to transit, but also those within our opportunity zones within Hillsborough County, there are excellent opportunities for development at this time without a CLT. So I think have those members take a look at it and just sort of rank them in your opinion, how quickly we could actually put those out. And we will discuss it, not for approval, but we will discuss it at the next board meeting.
Yeah, I think it's important that the AHAB board is informed of what's going on here. First of all, so that if there are any opportunities that exist, or if you know of anything that may help to leverage some of the opportunities as well. So we just want to keep you informed and be able to move forward aggressively during this time.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ms. Hall. Any other comments or questions? And that's sort of under our new business or future business items. So that conversation did. Are there any other future items that we'd like to discuss or bring up at the next meeting? Any board members? Ms. Combs?
Yeah, just a question for Cheryl that you might help. Cheryl, does your department, do you handle the CDBG mitigation funds, or is that a different department?
And so CDBG mitigation funds are DEO funds, right? And so DEO funding at the state is applied, it can be applied for by local municipalities, but it's project-based. So it's project-specific. The All People's Park, that award was DEO funding. Okay, but it was project-specific. And I can tell you that we applied for about 8 or at least 8 different projects within that. We applied for over $100 million of funding. But each set of funding was tied to a specific project. And most of those projects have to be what they call shovel ready to even be considered. And so, yes, but no, any one of our departments could apply for it, but we're probably most suitable because of our experience in dealing with CDBG funding. And so we spearheaded it, and we gathered all the partners together to go after sets of funding for specific projects, but it is project specific.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. So Ms. Takamori is going to get your feedback on setting the subcommittee so that we actually get nomination of officers very shortly. And then we're going to receive a shorter list of the ones we previously approved of the properties for consideration for affordable housing. And could you also send the ranking cheat sheet that we utilize to identify those lands as being great or not so great? I know we selected from the entire list and went to these look great, but having the ranking list will assist those members in that select list in really identifying why things are important.
I'll color code that list so that, and the codes will be for properties that should go out now, properties that should go back to real estate to dispose of, and properties that we can defer or delay on for CLT.
Okay, excellent. And then at the next meeting, we're also going to include on the agenda a review of the incentives plan. So please make sure, board members, that you have an opportunity to review that document that was included in your backup, and we will have that on the agenda for discussion at the next meeting. Terrific. Well, seeing no other hands raised or any additional items, just the only other thing I wanted to update you on is we are still working on the 10-point plan to address rental programs, eviction issues, fees and fines, and a variety of other things that are all rapidly moving through issues that are being discussed not only at the local level with the county, but also with our state delegation. I'm setting up several meetings with the majority of our state delegates locally here to really discuss issues associated with affordable housing and mostly social justice related issues. But keep your eye on our legislators, and when you have an opportunity to speak with them, help them understand how critically important affordable housing is to our economic, not only recovery, but also competitiveness. So if you have an opportunity to speak to anyone in our delegation, feel free to share that information. And then, the Florida Housing Coalition has a series of webinars that you can go and watch, that you can watch on recording, but they're also hosting a series of meetings on following the state legislature right now. So if you receive notice of those and have the opportunity to listen in or participate in those meetings, please, I encourage everyone to do so.
Commissioner?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this is Ms. Howell. I have just one more item. And right now we have Senate Bill 412 that will provide consistency in legal enforcement to prevent or reduce foreclosures. And it requires an independent mediator between landlords and tenants before eviction papers can be processed through the courts. And so that's a bill that we really need our advocates to keep their eye on, and Senate Bill 926. And this bill will seal the records of anyone evicted from their home due to COVID-related issues such as loss of a job or reduced income. And those were the two bills that I spoke of earlier in our meeting.
Excellent. Thank you very much for bringing that forward, because those are very important efforts that will assist us in stabilizing a community that's in crisis in many ways. So thank you very much for reminding us to follow up on those items. Our next meeting is scheduled for March 8th. It will be probably still be a hybrid meeting. We're moving along with the vaccination program within Hillsborough County, but it's still limited to over the age of 65, and first responders, primarily, and those that are able to get a medical exception from their physician. Although the hospitals are very light on access or supply of vaccines, so it's still difficult for folks to get vaccinated. So in the meantime, we're going to continue doing the hybrid meetings to facilitate people being able to attend. We still do need a physical quorum in order to be able to vote on items. And given that we've deferred minutes for 2 meetings already, and there are some issues that I believe that the board would like to vote on coming up on the next agenda. So let's do what we can to try and make sure that we can get that done. And seeing no other hands raised.
Commissioner?
Yes, ma'am. Who is that? Oh, Miss Burton. Hi.
Yes, ma'am.
You're recognized.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Natasha. I was on YouTube listening, but she helped me get in. Thank you. I just wanted to say this all the time. I'm always learning and appreciating to see how the wheels of government work, and then my little participation on being on this board. But I'm just listening to the public comments of the struggle that really exists in our community, and I know we all see it and know it. I just really think it's going to take brave souls to make this system do what it's supposed to do. People are struggling. The courts are still moving jet speed and putting so many folks out. People come to this board and present themselves in one way. I could tell you the list of stories that we hear, how people will accept folks' deposits, knowing that they will never become renters in those developments because of some past disparities. And I'm just hoping that this board paves the way in showing how people doing business with the county are going to have to be honest brokers. And in this changing time, that we just implore upon those that do business with the county in ways of funding and et cetera, that they should be more compassionate, either some way through your leadership, Commissioner and Ms. Howell, then you would be setting a new tone on who would be your partners. Because we just can't allow for people to be pushed to the streets and then have to live with all of that stress and uncertainty and not being able to make our families whole as well as our community. So thank you for allowing me to speak.
Oh, well, thank you, Ms. Burton. You are always free to remind us why we're all here, because that's exactly why we're here, is to not only create affordable housing, but to partner with those agencies and those stakeholders that assist in helping people stay in their homes. So I truly appreciate that. Any other comments? Ms. Jackson Sims?
I just wanted to say that I've been on the meeting all along, but I couldn't figure out how to make the connection, so you know I was there.
Okay, you've got, unfortunately, a really awful echo. So I want to make sure, I think I heard you say that you wanted to make sure that we knew you were here, and that, and we appreciate that. I'm not sure how to avoid the echo, but was there, I couldn't get the rest of it. Let's try that one more time.
Just wanted to make sure that the attendance.
Sims, if you turn down your speakers on your side, it looks like you may have computer speakers. If you turn the volume down, that should help. I'm gonna unmute you one more time and see if we can hear you. Can you hear it?
That didn't do it.
Also, if you're listening to the live feed or on YouTube, you may need to turn that off as well. Okay, it could just be the speakers then that are feeding back.
Well, the good news is we do see you, and we know you are here, and I'll ask Ms. McDonald to actually make sure that we show that you're present.
Madam Chair, I have her marked as present.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much.
Commissioner Overman, this is Commissioner Myers. I've been on the call too.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for joining us today.
I also want to say that Councilman Goods.
He's here.
Oh, he's here.
Yeah, he's here. He's muted.
I'm here.
Okay, great. Yeah, we've got good attendance today, and in spite of the Super Bowl flu. But thank you very much for joining us today. And with that, seeing no other hands raised or agenda items, we will see you on March 8th, 2020. And congratulations to the Buccaneers. We have
Thank you, guys.
more fans in the house. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.